A Guide to Comprehension. 3 things to think about when discussing comprehension. 1, the role of the brain in comprehension. 2, teaching strategies of comprehension. And 3, teaching students both word and world. Just as our brain works while we listen to someone speak to us, it also works while we read. While speaking, we can use facial expressions, tone, and hand motions to provide extra support. If we see someone is not understanding us, we can change the way we word things or show them what we mean. But while reading a written text, the author cannot change their writing. They can help us try to figure out the meaning or change how they state something. Therefore, comprehension is completely dependent upon the reader, and thus completely dependent on the reader's brain. The brain is constantly working while you read. Each word is being connected to other words, sentences, paragraphs, and essentially a whole book or text. The brain is making connections to previously learned information, memories, experiences, values, emotions, and beliefs. The key to comprehension is the connections that occur in our brains while we read. Our brain connects words to former text we have read, visuals we have seen, moments we have experienced, and words we have heard. Comprehension is actually the connection of all of these components linked together. But what steps do we take from here to help children actually comprehend a written text? It starts with teaching children how to read mindfully. One of the most important strategies is to share the connections we are making in our own brains. We call this modeling, thinking aloud, or metacognition. If students have never heard someone think aloud while reading a book or text, they might not notice that they actually do it themselves. It is our job as teachers to produce mindful reading by showing how we repeatedly pause, break down a sentence or paragraph, make connections, and then reflect on the words and how it relates to us. We must show them an example of what metacognition looks like. I'm constantly doing think alouds for my 5th grade students. I read a sentence or two, then stop to describe that inner monologue I am having. We must teach children these mindful thinking skills and strategies to closely monitor their comprehension. One example of this is the idea of reciprocal teaching, which encourages students to ask questions, make predictions, summarize, and clarify unknown words while they are reading. This forces students to pause and think about what they have actually read. Of course, just modeling what this looks like does not mean your students will be able to comprehend. It is now time to add multiple comprehension strategies to their student toolbox, so when they reach something challenging, they know what steps to take. These strategies help students look at the big picture of the text they are reading, and if they don't quite understand it, the strategies give way to a concrete method that students can use to figure it out. In order for these strategies to work, teachers must teach students 1. How to pick the correct strategy to use. 2. How to define the strategy and the steps they must take. And 3. To give the importance of the strategy, or the why behind it. One of my favorite ways to teach reading comprehension is through inquiry-based learning. Before comprehension starts, students must be motivated to learn, and their prior knowledge must be activated. This can occur by asking questions, filling out a KWL chart, starting with a story they can personally relate to, or simply just having a discussion about the topic of study. Once student learning is activated, it is important to give them the chance to experience and investigate the reading. Whether that is finding more information, gathering facts and data from within the text, or simply allowing them to take part in project-based learning. Next comes the organization of information and analysis, which can be practiced through comparing and contrasting ideas, categorizing, and finding patterns throughout the text. The final 2 steps of this inquiry-based model are reflection and sharing with other students, or even sharing with the whole class. This is just one of the many models to use in the classroom that promotes students to actually comprehend what they are reading. It is important as teachers to set students up for success by taking time to plan how we teach and implement the use of these strategies on a daily basis. Then, and only then, will we be able to guide students to comprehension. Many educators seem to only focus on teaching these reading strategies to students, which is really only just one part of teaching comprehension. Educators must also help their students build vocabulary knowledge, content knowledge, and help to provide them with a wide range of background knowledge and multiple text. This is how we teach children to comprehend both the word and the world. Comprehension requires the ability to read fluently with an understanding of vocabulary, knowledge of the word, and also an understanding of real-life experiences, knowledge of the world. But how do we ensure that students comprehend both word and the world? Many strategies have been taught and mastered to teach students how to decode words, but it is more beneficial to infuse comprehension into their decoding teaching, especially for those K through 3rd students. Decoding and fluency should be taught alongside comprehension. Prior knowledge and domain-specific knowledge is also necessary for comprehension. One way to ensure that they have this knowledge is to expose them to various types of text in various settings. Although it may be obvious, discussion is a must for comprehension. Students do not learn by reading, then closing the book and walking away. Students need the opportunity to make their views known and to hear out their classmates' other perspectives. These discussions will help them reach higher levels of thinking. Turning in talking, small group questioning, table talks are just a few ways to encourage students to speak about their learning of both the word and the world. We can support our students' comprehension by modeling, asking higher order thinking questions, and by providing meaningful strategies to help them infer and think through a text. But we can't stop there. We also must attempt to motivate our students by providing real-world tasks, purposeful projects and assignments, and giving them choice so that the students can make their learning more personal and relatable. These strategies are so relevant in all areas. They are needed and used across all content areas. We need to ensure students know that reading does not just take place in the ELA or reading classroom, but also in math, science, history, writing, music, and even through daily encounters we face in life. It's no surprise that comprehension is a complex topic. There is not one specific equation to create a comprehensive reader. As a teacher, you must consider various elements that go into the idea of comprehension: the role of the brain, the strategies needed, and the knowledge of both word and world. Good readers will always need to be knowledgeable, strategic, metacognitive, and motivated.